Hey guys, this is Jamie Johnson. I'm a freelance cover artist from Sydney, Australia. You may have seen my work on things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or The Last Ronin. I'm here to tell you that if you didn't watch Animaniacs or Pinky and the Brain, your childhood was trash.
Hello, this.
Damn. I know we've got like Blue Ring Octopus, which is like instant death, and then
Yeah.
actually, we'll just leave it. We know, just you know what, we'll come see you. I like America way better. It's fine.
Yeah, just everybody fly over here. We have the Warner Brothers over here, and
Good segue. I love it.
and the sister Dot, and the Warner sister Dot.
And just for fun, they run around the Warner movie lot.
Right?
Not so much anymore, though. I guess the tower's decommissioned.
Have you seen the reboot?
I
I
haven't.
haven't yet.
I can't picture in today's economy that it was anything like the original, because the
It's a little
original
bit
pushed
more.
some boundaries.
It was a little bit more woke, which is, look, it's fine, but it's not the 90s. Yeah, definitely not.
It's fine if it's something else. That's my concern.
Yes.
Is it's like trying to bring back like Ren and Stimpy right now. Like, don't do it, because it's not going to be Ren and Stimpy. It's going to be something completely different. If you
It's not
want
the
to do that
climate
with
for
brand
it.
new characters, great. I'm all for it. That's fine. But the Animaniacs push so many boundaries with all the jokes and the adult humor that was baked in back in the day, that they can't do it again. Not now, at least. We need to go back like a 180 and get back to that.
So I don't know how we're going to lead into that. So I don't know if I should let you take the lead on this, but I have a really cool story, and I got a little bit of a peek behind the curtain just
Oh
before
yeah,
I made it to Granite Con. So I want to kind of tell you a little something. So I don't know
Yeah,
if I should say it now or
right
if I
now.
should wait.
go ahead. Yeah.
No, just do it
Okay, so
now.
I'm going to set the scene and just give you the idea of kind of where I was at in my headspace when I did this. So obviously I'm in Sydney,
Fantastic.
Australia, and we were heading to Manchester, New Hampshire, which is so far away, right? So
A little bit.
for us, so here's the thing, right? So we have to get to the airport 3 hours before for an international flight. So I'm there at like 6 a.m. for a 9 a.m. flight. So it's already 3 hours there. You board the flight. There's a few delays. It's the first thing in the morning. So by the time we took off, there's probably about maybe 4 hours at the airport, another 14 hours almost flying. And the beautiful experience of getting through LAX and then like scrutinizing you like you're strapped with, explosives or something. And they're like, what are you here for? What's your Instagram and what's your blah blah blah? And like obviously they're making sure you're there for the right reasons, which is I'm all for. That's
Sure.
fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Made it through, had to get my luggage, had to check it in for, the domestic portion of it. I was flying Delta. They were actually awesome. So here I am, probably, let's just say 18 hours of like just dehydrated, tired, like, sweaty and whatever. And we finally, get to the gate. I'm just like, I'm going to put my headphones on. I've got one of those like fly hugs. It's looks like a neck brace. It's ready to like, and
Yeah.
I'm going to put my mask on. I'm like, no one talk to me. I've got a 6 hour flight to Boston and then another maybe hour drive to New Hampshire. And so I'm like, as soon as I get in there, I'm just going to maybe get a little, scotch and coke, just knock one back, have a little sleep, whatever. So as I'm getting in, I'm in the window seat, which is what I always do, and I'm just getting past this lovely couple. We've got like a lot of leg room, which is cool. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm just in the corner there, and they were really really friendly, and they were like, oh, where's your accent from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from Australia. They're like, oh, what brings you to Boston? Like, and I'm like, oh, I'm actually heading to New Hampshire. Like, what's in New Hampshire? And I said, oh, it's like this Ninja Turtle 40th anniversary, show, thinking they're going to be like, what's Ninja Turtles? And his wife nonchalantly goes, oh, he worked on Ninja Turtles. And I went, what, the comics? He goes, no, the series. And I said, oh, what, the like Nickelodeon? He goes, yeah, with Zero. And I went, what did you do in the series? He's like, oh, I was the executive producer. I said, oh, sorry, well,
Huh.
I'm Jamie. I just do covers and whatever. And he goes, oh, I'm Peter Hastings. And he was like the executive producer of the 2012. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. So you would have worked with Rob Paulson. He goes, yeah, I love Rob. I've worked with him a bunch. And I said, what else? And he said, oh, I co-created Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain.
Oh,
And I'm like,
jeez.
and I'm like, and that's when I was like geeking out about the Turtles. The 2012 Turtles I discovered a lot later, like very recently.
Yeah.
87 is where I lived, and then kind of everything since that. And then I kind of didn't really dive into the 2012 until much later.
Yeah.
And so I started saying like, oh, I basically have met Kevin Eastman a bunch. We're very fortunate to have him as a guest down here. quite a lot. And, you know, a lot of the artists clearly, like obviously like Freddie comes a lot. I know John and Camillo and all those boys. So I was looking forward to meeting a few, but I'd kind of really wanted to meet Rob Paulson. Was like my childhood, you know, to me, he's the voice actor.
Yeah.
And so, because he's Pinky, he's Yakko, he's, you know, everything. Yeah. And so he started telling me all these like amazing stories about, you know, the writer's room and how there was like, this is like early internet, and how there was like a group that would, because they'd obviously, it was all about their comedic sensibility and the little like in jokes that they had, or they'd recreate like Orson Welles doing this like famous, like, you know, in the booth and speak, and they do it as like Brain, and they're like, people didn't pick up on it, but this group was just like, oh, and this reference is blah, 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 and this is referring to this, and they do outtakes from famous like cut scenes or whatever. And so this group had like a forum, and they used to meet up, and they all became friends in the real world, and they used to have like almost like a little annual meetup, right? So they might go to Cincinnati one year, and one year might be LA or whatever, and then one year they invited them. They actually got a hold of it and said, hey, this is, I don't think it was Peter, I think it was whoever represented them, said, we'd love to have you out of Burbank, give you a tour of the studio and whatnot. What he didn't tell them was they animated an episode called the Get a Life Club. And it's about this thing about, in episode 3 and blah, blah, you know, all this thing. And so they brought them into the boardroom. The way he described it was incredible. So it's like the 90s height of it. He's working, literally Spielberg is the it's Spielberg Presents. And so he's actually, everything's kind of run through that. And it's a lot of what he loved, like a lot of the early cinema and all that sort of stuff. And then just the humor that wove in was so clever. But then they'd like sit them down at this boardroom, which was like, he said it was this big granite, meeting room, table. And it was like in the Warner Brothers logo, like it was carved into it. Like it just was this incredible looking thing. And he goes, all right, guys, so we're going to show you a little something. We want to use you as kind of like the test, test group, focus group. And he goes, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. Roll it. And then they were like, oh my God, it's us and that's you and that's blah, blah, blah. And oh my God, that's the thing I said. And they were just like, this is like, you just made our life, you know? And so we were just laughing and joking. And he was talking about like, Rob's uncanny, like he can just memorize things on a dime and how he's just got that, pizzazz about him. And it's just him bouncing off the walls, you know? So yeah, it was it was cool and it was fun. And I was expecting to, like I said, I'm going to just shut out the world, go to sleep. And I think we ended up chatting for like maybe 3 of the 6 hours. And then I said, look, I'm going to let you sleep. I'm going to rest, blah, blah, blah. But it was just the coolest. And I said, are you coming to the con? He goes, no, I'm going to a wedding in Boston. I didn't even know it was on. So I'm not even a guest at Granite. I literally was going there for the 40th anniversary because the Turtles means that much to me. And I was like sitting next to one of the executive producers of Ninja Turtles that had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like, just to show you real quick, just to prove a point. He literally goes, I said when I was going to meet Rob, I don't know if that's going to focus. Anyway, I'll send you later, but it's like, I go, I don't even know if I'm going to get to see Rob. He goes, well, take a photo, show Rob, tell him I said hi. I'm like, that's the coolest thing ever.
that is awesome. And I mean, you don't squander an opportunity like that. You stay awake, you peel your eyes open and
I actually didn't think I could stay awake. I was that tired because I was coming off. I had to do like a deadline before it. So I was leading into it with no sleep as well. And so I was just so invigorated. And I'm like, this is like my childhood. And I'm hearing all this stuff. And I hadn't watched Animaniacs in years. I don't know if you know how hard it is to watch the old episodes in full. You can find some of them, but they're at least here anyway, it's quite hard. A lot of it's geo-blocked for us. So yeah, it was really, really cool.
Interesting. Yeah, that's awesome.
You go.
No, I got nothing to say. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I lucked out years ago and ended up getting like all the DVDs, so I can just I can just pop them on.
I gotta hunt that down.
Are they region locked over there?
A lot of the online content is. I'm sure I can find. Look,
no, I meant like the DVDs.
Oh, the DVDs they are, but I mean. Little secret about Australia, we're like Jack Sparrows down here. Everything was pirated, so we'd have like our PlayStations would all be like chipped and region blocked, unlocked and whatever, so we could play it. I had all the before Ninja Turtles, the '87 series was out here. I had it and I was able to watch it on my PS2 at the time.
Oh, nice, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, who's out of all the cast? Who's your favorite character from the Animaniacs?
Well, Yakko is the main one, but I actually love to be honest, you can't, the funny thing was, I thought, because I'm so biased because of Rob, but looking at just they all have different personalities and just like, Wacko, I don't know if it was meant to be Ringo Starr or whatever, but he's got this real funny thing in his voice like this. And he's like, it's just like, and it plays off this really high, like kind of Yakko. Like they have a really cool, and Dot's a straight down the middle kind of thing. She just gives the sweet punchline, you know?
Yeah. Because she's cute.
And she's cute,
It's the theme song is like my pump up song before I go to play a round of golf. Like it's the right kind of tempo. It just gets you like,
get your blood going
to get off that first tee and just exactly.
That's right.
You're singing along while you're out there on the green.
It gets stuck in your head for days, dude. Sometimes I'm just humming it and just it's just very fun.
I think that's the biggest lost art from the 80s and early 90s is the theme songs. Like totally. There's no theme songs anymore. You can't sing along anymore. Back in the day, like Animaniacs, the Ninja Turtles theme song, Thundercats, like you could just sing, belt it out. But nowadays it's just
Transformers, everything, man. Even the Spider-Man to a lesser extent. That now, you know,
just
the
whole
big metal
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah.
It's funny. My daughter's 6 and she's obsessed with Ninja Turtles, mainly because of Mutant Mayhem. But I'm slowly getting her into the 87 cartoon, and she's working on memorizing the theme song now. It's so cute, like her running around the house singing it, and then Dad, what's the words that go here?
Oh, it's so cute. How old is she?
She's 6.
Oh, that's great. That's the perfect age too, between 4 and 6. And the beauty, like it's literally, we've spoken to Kevin about it and all the other creators, and that's the coolest thing is every generation has their own iteration. And I know that people are very purist and they want to be like, that's not my Turtles. It's like, it's not. It's for the next people to introduce them, and then they're like, oh, I love this thing. What came before it? Oh, there's other ones. That's
so
cool.
much
and then,
more.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And now that that's so cool.
He found I think I threw on, what was it, the 2013 series? 2012 series. I think I just tossed it on Netflix to get my 3-year-old to be quiet. My 11-year-old decided to binge watch everything, and then found all of the other versions and then binge watched those. Except for the 87, he hasn't binge watched that, but like everything else, he's like, I've already watched it.
If you do introduce the 87, you got to say like watch it up to a certain point, because then they try and make it all dark and gritty. And since the movie came out, they try and like lean into it. I kind of I watch it through, and I'm like, yeah, it's cool. Like you get Slash and you get these cool little dips, but they really try to make it too gritty. I'm like, that's not what that is.
So a little bit of left field for me. I always love the good feathers in Animaniacs. I just love their dynamic between them and just the whole like the Godfather aspect.
Yeah.
Like they're just.
I love it. I love the way they string the theme song of Animaniacs. So they literally run through the cast, and they're like, good feathers flock together, Slappy Waxer with a purse, and all this stuff. Like, all these cool. It's like, but it literally buttons, chases Mindy, Rita sings a verse, like all this stuff, and it's like everything is encapsulated. And they sometimes cross over, they sometimes don't. The coolest part of not just interacting, like obviously at the con meeting, like Rob Paulson and the rest, like Barry Gordon and Townsend and Cam Clark. It was awesome, but hearing Peter talk about how they're written, these guys are delivering it like pitch perfect, but like the humor behind it, and him talking about like my group of friends, we've always done the Pinky. I don't know why we chose this thing, but the Troz, it's like Zort spelled backwards is Troz, right? And it was just this throwaway line, and I think in Australia at least they used it as a promo. Like a standalone promo. It's like, the wisdom of Pinky and the Brain. And it's like, Brain, did you know that Zort backwards is Troz? Like, and so that was like our thing that we used to do. And he goes, oh, Troz, that was my thing. Like, he goes, oh yeah, I came up with Troz. I'm like, that's like, we literally still use it to this day. He did it in 1993, 4, whatever.
Yeah, like, crazy.
It's so
the longevity,
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know why we latched onto that particular thing, but that ducky go down the hole, it's literally like a 10-minute segment of keys go down the hole, and just like this kid flushing stuff down the toilet. Like, and I'm like, oh, this
Forgot
is the
about that.
best. This is the
Yeah.
best. Ducky go
I
down the
love that as
hole.
a kid.
I
Yeah.
forgot about
Oh.
that kid.
But the genius of like, we were just like, oh my God, this is the best. What else is he putting in there? Like, keys go down the
Yeah.
hole.
Oh my God, so good. That and a good idea, bad idea.
Which one's that?
The good idea, bad idea.
I don't know if
It was like
remember
was it like a stick figure guy or something like that? And it was like, now it's time for another good idea, bad idea, and it's like, good idea,
Oh,
plug in a
yes.
toaster in an electrical socket. Bad idea, plug in your sister in an electrical socket. Like or something like that. It was just like the stupidest things.
I totally forgot about. Like I said, I haven't been able to watch the full series again, like in so long. And
Yeah.
it's since like obviously we spoke about this. I'm like, I just have to take such a deep dive. I haven't been able to, but like you said, I might look at getting the box set already because it's very hard to just track down. And doesn't really have an order, but like it definitely starts one way and then they sort of find their groove, and you sort of. You know, by the end of it, they're like they don't even get. They're slipping in so many double entendres and things that go over kids' heads. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, that was what I think. That's what a lot of the 80. Oh, we were talking about theme songs. That's what we were talking about. Yeah. But that's it. Is there Animaniacs was something above and beyond anything we'd really seen at that point, right? Like because of it was one of those first things that was really geared towards like, let's see what we could let's see how far we could push it, but also let's throw in a whole bunch of adult stuff for the adults that are made to watch it with their kids. And you look back and it's like you said, the theme song just literally runs through the characters. Slappy is one of my favorites, but you know, and then all of the musical parts of it that they had, like they did a lot of singing in that show, like similar
especially
to
Rob.
like Looney Tunes.
Well, Rob's done the updated version of like he did all the countries, and so many of the countries have changed and the borders are different. So he actually does an updated version, and he just that's what I mean. The recall of these guys is just like savant. They're savant level, like it's crazy.
It is. Yeah, he was at Granite Con like 15 years ago or whatever, and did the updated version with Wacko.
Oh, that's awesome.
They were both there.
Jess Arnell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Dot had actually canceled, unfortunately.
Dude.
Yeah, it was like Thursday. She canceled for like a Saturday convention.
Well, I was really holding out to meet, obviously, all the Back to the Turtles, the turtle actors. And look, anyone that has known me, I'm pretty open with like my story and what Turtles kind of meant to me. Like my father passed away when I was 7. He was 40 years old. Our birthdays were a day apart. And so Turtles was our thing. Like that was like, he passed away wearing a Ninja Turtle shirt. And on a side note, when I did meet Townsend, he was wearing the same shirt, just like the kind of long sleeve version. So it's just like, that's cool. Crazy. You know what I mean? Like, but like when people say it means a lot, it means something different to everyone, right? Everyone has something. Whether it was the toys you got for Christmas or birthday or sharing it with your siblings or whatever it is that you get from it, they have probably heard every kind of story. But obviously I went in there and everyone, you know, is their story is so important to them, and that's the thing. The way I met these guys, like can I tell this story? This is just like another 5-minute, like similar to
go ahead.
Yeah. So being in that hall in the Armory, which was awesome, we ended up doing like the preview night and then the 2 days, right? So I'd come in at 11 o'clock the night before. I think the preview night was added after, so that was going to be my rest day, but instead it was like bump in at 12, and then I think it was trading from 3 to 8. So it was like a full day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. We were the only ones, and that was awesome. I got to meet everyone, and you see people online and stuff, but it was connecting with people, and it was really, that was really, because they're the diehard ones. That the preview night people are really there early, pick up their commissions, and you know that way they can enjoy the rest of the weekend. And and look, it was obviously for a good reason. You know, they were able to expand, and they went to the arena, which was obviously adjacent to the Hilton. And so it was a different building altogether. I'm like, I'm at my table, I'm by myself. I was very lucky. My buddy Jeremy was very kind. He actually flew me over, and he was helping me out at points, but I didn't want to burden anyone. So there were some really great volunteers that would, you know, if you really needed to, you can watch your table and whatever. But I just didn't want to be that guy. I just kind of was like, if the opportunity arises, I'd love to meet them. Saturday, Friday came and went. They weren't obviously there. Saturday came and went. It was just flat chat all day. And I'm like, okay, well, Sunday's my last chance. I looked at the schedule. I saw that they were doing the panel in the hall, like in our building.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, I'm going to at least attend that. And I'm like, I'll bring one of my prints. All I'd love is just a scribble. I'd love just something just to commemorate the time.
Yeah,
I don't need
absolutely.
it. I don't need to tell them my story. I don't need to like do the whole like, like it's just like, it means a lot to me. I turned 40 the week before that show. I'm the same age as the Turtles.
Wow.
My dad passed away at that. You know what I mean? It was a week after our birthday. So the full circle moment was just, I felt like I was in the right place,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I rolled up it's a really long poster I had, and I did an homage to Jim Lee's X-Men #1. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's like the 4 issue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I did one in like my style, which is like that gritty kind of, modern comic style. I did one in the 87 style. So instead of Casey Jones, it was Splinter. Instead of Gambit, it was Splinter. And instead of Psylocke, it was April.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm there. I'm kind of like just rolled it up. I'm at the back. I'm literally back of the room. Like it is packed. Like, were you guys at the panel?
No,
because it was just your table was just outside that room, right?
Yeah, we were like right outside, so you probably saw everybody go in.
Yeah. So anyway, so it was just jam packed. I don't know how many seats, maybe 150, 200 people. I don't know how many people were there, but it was full. So I basically stood at the back of the room, and I was just enjoying hearing the back and forth. And that they have the same stories that they'll tell everyone, but hearing it for the first time and hearing it in person is really kind of nice.
Different. Yeah.
And anyway, so. Rob started saying, because they obviously the actor who played Splinter had just passed away, the voice actor, and so he said something that sounded a bit controversial at the time, and he goes, he died, and so what? And we're like, what? He goes, we're gonna die, so what? He goes, Ninja Turtles doesn't live or die with us. He goes, we're just a part of the story. He goes, the fact that we're able to come here decades later and it still means something to someone. He goes, like the median age of people that are coming to this thing that grew up with it. Some have kids now and they're showing theirs. He goes, people are probably around 40. I'm like, I just turned 40. He goes, people like, get inspired by the stuff and, start like drawing and becoming artists. I'm like, that's me. And he's like, and they draw the Ninja Turtles in their style. And I'm like, oh, and I literally went like this. I'm going to pull up. I got it here. And I started unraveling this thing and doing it like, think John Cusack with a boombox above his head. I started, and this is just for Rob. This is at the back of the room. I didn't want anyone to see except Rob. And I kind of went like this, and I held it up, right? And he goes, yeah, like that. And I went, and everyone turned around, and then they started clapping. I'm like, oh shit! I'm like sorry, shoot. And I started like, rolling it up because I was, I wasn't doing it for that. I was a little bit embarrassing. Anyway, that was really cool and quite funny, but. I was like, well, there's my moment. He acknowledged the thing. That was
right.
That's awesome.
Anyway, and while this is still going a little bit, just hang in there a little bit longer.
No, you got it.
I'm here for the whole ride, buddy.
Yeah. Well, it is a podcast, luckily. And so I'm standing there. I'm just really enjoying the thing. People are asking really good questions, actually, and they're giving really thoughtful answers. And I noticed to my left there was like a lady. Maybe in her like late 60s, early 70s, but it was Sunday by this point. You could tell it was like just long weekend, and she had a different lanyard around her neck. And I kind of said quietly, "Did you want me to get you a chair?" She goes, "No, it's okay. I can see them better from here." And I'm thinking either she's a really big fan or she's kind of affiliated with them. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Are you with these guys at all?" She goes, "Oh, I'm Townsend's sister. Townsend's my brother." Oh, and so. Yeah. So her name was Shelby. She was lovely. And we were kind of just chatting quietly off to the side. And obviously I didn't want to be rude. And she's like, like, where are you from? I can hear an accent. And I just said all the stuff. Same thing, like Australia. And I kind of gave her the lowdown about like, what that kind of meant, my dad. And she goes, oh my God. She's like, like I said, I'm just going to try and get a signature. And she goes, well, hang here. And if we can, I don't know, because it's really, like it is tight scheduling. Like I feel bad for the guys because they're like just being ushered off to every, different signing and press and whatever. And so she came back to me. She goes, oh, look, we're not going to be able to do it here. She goes, but if you come see me at the arena I think she gave me a time, like 12:30 or 1 o'clock, whatever. we'll see if we can look after you. I'm like, oh, great. Like, no problem if not. Like, it was great to meet you. It was awesome to see them, that sort of thing.
Right.
And so one of the volunteers was lovely, was minding my table. I went across with my little, rolled up. And as I was going out, I could see them still. They hadn't even made it out of the building. I think they were still being like, I think it might have been the organizers who were talking with them, which are great guys. And they were like, I think they were talking about photo ops or something. And I was like, oh, okay. Clearly, I won't be able to do it here. And I didn't want to interrupt. So I just kind of went to leave. And then I hear Shelby go, Jamie. And she ushered me over. And she goes, Rob, this is the guy. And she goes, are you the guy from Australia and your dad? And so she told them like everything. And cool. I was literally like, he was one of the main reasons I was going to be there to, like, Rob was he's the Animaniacs guy. He's the Turtles guy. He's like, the guy. And so, and he goes, oh my God, he goes, well, do you want to have we'll snap a quick pic. I'll pull it up on my phone. So he's like, we snapped a quick pic outside the convention center. I'm like, okay, cool. It's going to be blurry, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm done. That's awesome. Like, that's cool. I don't need a signature. Like, it was a great exchange. He gave me a hug. Like, it was just super, like, it just was a nice, moment. And I'm like, thank you so much. He goes, no, look, we've got a photo up now, but he goes, come at 1:45, come down and I'll make sure we look after you. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. That'd be great. So went back to my booth. I'm still like, still having a great time interacting with everyone, but I'm still keeping my eye on the clock. I don't want to miss this opportunity. So the time comes. The volunteer was awesome. Sat down again, and I did look after them. I gave them some prints and stuff. I didn't want to take the piss, as we say. Anyway, so I went over, and Shelby found me. She ushered me over to Townsend. I hadn't met him yet, and he was so warm. And instead of a photo, we actually did a video thing, right? So he's like, we did like a high five cowabunga, which I'm sure he does for everyone. But it was just really cool hearing him say cowabunga, like.
Right.
I was just like, it's literally, he's in his early 70s, I think, and he sounds exactly the same as he did in 1987. And still has the same enthusiasm and vigor for it. And that was cool. And they basically took me to each. I didn't get a group photo, but I had a really nice moment with each. I had Barry, Barry Gordon was awesome. He's the oldest of the bunch, I learned, and a whole bunch of, other things. Cam Clark was cool because he's got a very recognizable voice, and I was a big He-Man guy. And when the 2000X He-Man came out, because I used to own all of the Masters of the Universe, like the vintage line, even Eternia, everything I had. And so when I could jump on day one, like I was like, oh, that's Leonardo. Like, he's like, my name is Adam. Like, he's got that real high pitch. And in the same thing, he brings it out of I have the power. And so I said to him, like, man, I knew it was you instantly. I go, and just, it's so impressive how you can take it from, prepubescent, Adam to this, like, just the most powerful man. And so he goes, I didn't record this. I wish I had, but he did the power of Grayskull. I have the terminal power. And I went,
that's awesome. Oh. That is so cool.
Yeah. And meeting Rob was the last one. And I'm kind of glad because I had, we got to record. I posted it on my Instagram. We got to record I'm like, I'm here with Pinky. He's got something to say, and he's like, "Right? Did you know there's all backwards is Trolls?" And I'm like, "I Trolls," and I did it with him. And I'm like, "Oh my God, so cool!"
Oh man, that's awesome. It goes to show you, like, it's the little things, right? You never know what type of experience you're gonna have, so always be open to anything, right?
Sorry, go.
I was gonna say, if you didn't stand there in the back of the room, if you didn't take that, like, you weren't doing it for any selfish reason, but you just held the poster up, you talked
like
you're say anything, you're a Lloyd Dobber, and then you got a woman standing there, and you were just kind to her, and like that opened up all these experiences for you at the show that made your probably year easy,
dude,
it wouldn't have happened if you weren't open to it.
Probably made my adulthood, to be honest, because I said, I put a pretty, I'm pretty sentimental guy, and I put a big kind of thank you post up, after the 30 hours of travel back home and settling back in and all that stuff. It was I literally was there for 3.5 days, but it was 30 hours of travel each side, and it was so freaking worth it. I wouldn't have changed it. Like, it was just, I went away just on cloud 9.
Right.
But the cool part Also, the sweet part, these guys here. So I don't know if you know what they charge. Like I think it's like $60 a signature and $50 a
Yeah.
selfie. And I
Oh,
was just
God,
getting
yeah.
my wallet. I was getting my wallet up. They're like, no. They wouldn't charge me for anything. I had. Can I
Yeah.
show you what else I got? Like they literally,
Yeah.
I've got these other prints. They signed like that one. I did
Oh,
like
nice.
kind of the intro
That
style
one's
Yeah.
super cool.
turtles. Like these are all based on the intro, right? I just did them when they announced the Saturday morning adventures. But these
Nice.
guys, like, they're personalizing it. They're putting all the,
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I got these. I
Oh,
haven't.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
cool.
Oh, you like that one? You know what's
That's
Oh,
funny
that's
is
awesome.
so
I
good.
know there's no lightning, but that reminded me of the NES game that was impossible to beat when you're a kid. Um, but even on this poster, I have to have this framed. It's huge. But
Yeah,
they've personalized everything on there. Like they're just
that's
That's a
awesome.
gorgeous print, by
this.
the way.
Thank you so much.
You're
It's
welcome.
they're the coolest guys, and they don't have to be. Like they're
Yeah.
literally the voices of so many people's childhood,
Well,
and oh
that,
gosh, it's just yeah.
that's Turtles though. Like it is.
Mm.
Turtles are four brothers and their dad. They're a family, and the people associated with Turtles, like yourself and Pete and Barry and all them, it's family. It's literally a family.
Yeah.
And everybody's so nice. And like after GraniteCon, Nick and I, we were down at the hotel bar.
Mm.
We're hanging out with Ben Bishop, Troy Little,
Yep.
and all that, just having some drinks. And we're just sitting there, and all of a sudden, Judith Hogue just walks in and just
And
starts,
Eastman,
grabbing a drink. And then 5 minutes later, Kevin Eastman shows up and starts drinking, and I'm like,
Well,
you know what? And I look at Nick and I'm like, I'll be right back. And I just go up and I start talking with them. And I was like, can I get a selfie with you guys? And they're like, oh yeah, sure. And then Ken Scott showed up and Brian Toshi showed up, and I'm buying them around and
that's awesome.
taking selfies with them. Ken Scott like tried to break my arm. He's like, I want to try this martial arts move on you. Hold on, let me do this.
He's like, sit down. I got to tell you.
he's like pretend to throw a punch at me. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, pretend to throw a punch at me. And I'm like, and he's just like, Mama! And I'm like, shit. And then Robbie Rish showed up, and we're just sitting there drinking with all of them, and like I took pictures with all of them and stuff, and it's just like you said, that's $60 a picture is what I think they charge at their tables, but they're like, you know what, we're here, you're part of this, let's do it, and it's just so nice.
So I have one more story.
Yeah, let's hear
all the stories you want.
So my story is very similar to yours, but here's the thing, right? So you got to think about. Everyone's just gone. You guys are probably doing that thing where you're like, you've left the con. You're like, man, that was so cool. You've packed up your stuff. You're in the bar, and you're like, oh my god, it's this person and that person. This is so cool, and that's the vibe of the whole con. Like that's what I loved about it. The love in that room, and everyone just the shared fandom is just like everyone has a story, has a connection, and like the fact that you were Ken Scott tried to break your arm, and Robbie Wrist is just like, yeah, he's Mikey, right, Robbie?
Yeah. He's the movie Mike, yeah.
I mean, look, I wasn't staying at the Hilton. I was staying at the Marriott around the corner, and it was funny because I saw Brian Tocci and Ken Scott. They were just talking. They were obviously staying there, and I went to get into the lift, and it goes, oh, the elevator, and it goes, and I'm talking to my partner, and back in Australia, it's probably like super early in the morning, and I'm like, I gotta go. Kino's in my elevator. So like Ernie Reyes Jr. was just there. I'm just like, number one, like the dude doesn't age. Filipino jeans are amazing.
Right.
But like the thing is, I didn't do the fan thing. Like I feel like the hotel is their thing. I just kind of gave him. I was wearing the shirt. I just gave him a nod and
like you do the acknowledgement nod. You're like, I know. I'm not going to bother you.
I had an Artist Alley badge on still, which I forgot to take off like a total loser. But I think he knew. I was just like, gave him a little, like a nod. And that was enough for me. But my mum's from the Philippines. I should have done the whole Philo connection. But I'm like, I just didn't. Number one, I didn't have the energy in me to do it by that stage. But I just didn't. I felt like they've had a long enough day and have probably heard it. But my story, that's not my story. My story is, I think you guys are at the bar, you're enjoying, you're doing everything. I don't know if you saw my setup. It was so janky, but I had like a from Amazon, and because I couldn't bring this stuff over, I had to order it there. And I had a good buddy. Same thing. The community is just always helping out, And so I had stuff sent to his house. He brought it over. It was like a photographic, those little telescopic things with a drop cloth, and we're trying to pin it down. I was hanging on my prints, and they were just hanging on for dear life by the end. They were about to like all fall down and apart and whatever. But anyway, so I'm packing everything down. My buddy Jeremy, who's awesome, he helped me with a bunch of it too. And we were just kind of packing. I saw Kevin was still kind of signing for volunteers. And so me being a smart ass, like I know Kevin enough that, we kind of, I call him Beast Man. He calls me Jaime. And he'll go, and so I'm like lining up with him with one of my prints or whatever, and that comic and whatnot. And so he's just not looking up. He goes, this fucking guy. and then he starts going, that's awesome. And like, he's always just bigging you up and whatever. And I'll show you, this is relevant for the thing. This is the main one I got signed. So this is my issue 1 to 4 for the current series
Nice.
Yeah, so he just gave me the usual. You can see between Leo and Donnie there, and that was really nice. I'm like, that was a nice way to end it. I'm like, that's cool. If I can leave it there, I can go back to Australia happy. I've met the voice actors, got to interact with Kev a little bit, and to be fair, that was the first time I saw him. He was flat out the whole weekend. So
he was. His line was nonstop.
So it's good. I'm glad you bought him a drink, man. That's good to hear. But anyway, so that's like cool. I can call it a day. That's amazing. What an experience. My cup is full. I'm going to travel 30 hours back home now. No worries. Anyway, so we were wheeling the stuff. Jeremy was staying there. He had to get something from his room. So I'm waiting in the foyer, and then I look over and there's Ben talking with Judith. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't get to meet Judith, and I knew Ben a little bit. And I just went to say hi, and I said, do you mind if I just don't want to be a weird thing. I just want to just introduce myself, say hi, and I'll leave you guys to it. Anyway, and I said, maybe I'll ask for a photo. I don't want to be that guy. And I thought, you just see how it goes, right? So I just said, hey, sorry, Judith, I just want to say hi. I've traveled from Australia. Love your work. Like, everything's great. Like, I loved all the things they were doing during the pandemic. They're doing the readings and stuff. And, it was really kind of a cool, different point. And she goes, oh my God, Australia. And she's talking about how far it is and how she hasn't done Australia. She's been to South Africa, and it's such a long haul, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, should we get a photo? I'm like, oh my God, please, that'd be amazing. So Ben took a photo of us, the thing. I posted that as well. I'm like, that's a cool way to leave it. No worries, done. Right. So I'm like, all right. Went to my hotel, slept it off. And then Jeremy and I were going to travel north to Dover the next day. We're going to go to the site where where they created it, basically. And I'm like, that's the way to cap it off, and then we're going to kind of catch our flights by separate ways. So we did the Dover thing, which is a lot more like emotional than I thought. I thought it was just going to be like, oh, that's cool. But like, I was like, this is like this little, like, it's not even there anymore, but this tiny house where this cultural phenomenon, and they were just trying to make each other laugh, the fact that they're still both with us. And I didn't get to meet Pete, but I it was obviously his health comes first. I didn't get to see him, unfortunately, but a lot of my buddies did, and that was really cool to see he still gives. I know he's not 100%, so the fact that he still shows up to these things when he can is great. But I was like, you know what, I got to do all that stuff and see where it was kind of created, and took some cool photos and whatever. And that was my biggest. I've been on Instagram since 2011. I think I got nearly like 10,000 likes on that thing, and like it was just like the biggest post, and you just see the impact of turtles and whatever. Sure. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And then cool, all right, no worries. So we go to the airport. We go to Boston. Same thing. I had the turtle shirt on. The guy that we gave our rental car, and he goes, oh, the turtles. Like, wow, where'd you get that? I said, oh, and Jeremy's like, oh, that's his work. Did you draw it? And I go, yeah. He goes, oh my God. And I had one of my comics. I was, oh, here you go, dude. Oh my God. He starts calling his kid, going, guess what I got? And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like, all right, no worries. That's another nice one. Like, awesome. Done. I can go back to Australia happy. So that's no worries. And then so Jeremy and we go in, we check in. That's a whole nother thing, the TSA stuff. My gosh. But finally go through everything. Have to strip down, get my shoes off, and do all the really vigorous like security checks. Finally get in, check in my bag. Finally at the gate, I find the most like the furthest corner, and I plug my phone in. I let it charge. I'm just going to decompress. And there's one open seat next to me. Barry Gordon, Donatello sits next to me, and I'm like, I like play it cool. He's like, oh hey Jamie. I'm like, how the frick did you remember my name? You met like thousands of people. Like
Yeah.
Anyway, so we didn't even talk about Ninja Turtles once. He's traveling to Japan with his wife, and we're talking about like our favorite TV shows. He's talking about these like New Zealand shows that he's obsessed with, and all these different like it's just I don't know. It was just a cool moment. And apparently Rob was on the flight too, but he was on the phone I think to his family or something. And so I didn't want to be that guy. So I'm like, had a great interaction with him. I let them. They were getting on first, and I think I was like maybe group 7. I was at the back, like I was last on the plane, and that's fine. I get on, and I'm like, I'm so ready to just close it off. And I'm there in the middle of the flight, and I'm like, I don't have much in my hand carry, but I do have my issue 1 and a sketch cover of a Raphael and a Donatello. And I'm like, so I had a proper sketch cover, ready to go. I didn't know if I'd see them, but I'm like, if I did, I just want to gift it to them and say, thank you so much, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm at the back of the plane. So everyone's getting off. I'm like, oh, they're going to be long gone. We're in LA. They're probably ushered off wherever. And as I get off, I hear this, Jamie. And I look up and it's Rob. And he apparently is waiting for Barry, who's getting off. He goes, oh, I'm so glad I saw you. Barry told me you're on the flight and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, dude, like it was so, such a great experience. Like, thank you so much. I said, also, when Barry came, I said, also, I've got these for you guys. Barry had this fully like rendered Copic, blank sketch cover I'd done. And that was ready. I was ready to go. I had it in my bag. And then his was just my Raphael, which is that one there. And I just had done like a little remark on it. I said, look, next time I see you, you'll get the proper sketch. I said, you're both Donatello, but he's the OG. And then so we're kind of having a little joke or whatever. But they gave me the warmest hug, and we kind of just went off on our way. And it was just the nicest exchange. I went and had like a steak and a whiskey, and I got on my flight to Australia, the happiest guy probably in North America.
Right.
And it was just like I said, the sentimental post I did at the end was like, I felt like that 7-year-old that lost his dad got a hug from his childhood. You know what I mean? They hugged that 7. It's like it was just such a comfort knowing that they were just such good guys, And and one of them happens to be a Warner brother, and an experimental mouse. So there you go.
No,
Jesus.
But those are so. Now, was this your first convention over in America?
It was. I've been obviously as a punter, I've been to San Diego Comic-Con twice. I went 2013 and 2015, but literally just it wasn't even Turtles back then. It was like I collect a lot of Jim Lee. Like all the comics behind those Turtles, those 3 rows are all Jim Lee comics. They're Jim Lee original pages from like Batman Hush and also nice. Batman and Robin and Sketch. So like that was my, I guess, like artistic like idol when it came to like comics. And when I drew, I tried to like emulate that. You moved past that, but when I started out, I was definitely trying to like emulate Jim a lot with that stuff and
give you inspiration. But that's actually one of the main that's one of the things that we both enjoy at conventions is those weird interactions that you don't get everywhere. It's like not the thing you're expecting, but it also is an like absolutely fantastic thing that you're like, I don't know what I was expecting, but that exceeded it somehow.
Well, it's outside of the parameters of the show. Like you get these like amazing interactions, and it's a signing, and they're like, okay, I'm in the zone, and they're obviously going to be nice to the people in there, and that's fine. And that's like, are they really nice, or are they just being nice because they're being paid to be nice?
Nice,
and then you see them after hours, and they are just the same people. It is just so nice to see. It's almost like they're really grateful for it. Like they don't take it for granted. They know what it means to other people, and that might be their only interaction or first interaction with that, the only chance to make that impression, and they just don't let you down. That's been like, like I said, I'm as old as the Turtles. I don't know if you guys 80s kids 41. As well.
I turned 40 this year too, 84.
Yeah. Like we are literally the same age as this. So every time, like when the animated series hit, we were like, what, 4 or 5? For me, we got it a little bit later in Australia. You guys got it 87. I think we got it like 88. And it was like, I was like 4 or 5, and it was just like I had a Ninja Turtle party with like 60 kids were all dressed up, and it was just all the decorations. And I saw these like these old photos, like my dad had decorated, like had drawn the Ninja Turtles with the icing and stuff. I'm like, I draw that shit on covers now. Like obviously, they're just retailer variants. I'm literally like the lowest rung of it. I'm not like I'm not like a Ben Bishop or a Kevin Eastman. I'm literally just like one of the guys that's lucky enough to be able to do an official cover in an unofficial way, if that makes sense. It's a retailer exclusive,
which is in and of itself
it counts.
a feat that
A
you
huge
shouldn't
feat, yeah.
discount on yourself. Just so we're clear. I don't have a cover. You have a cover.
I'd kill to have a cover. I want a cover.
I mean, I have lots of covers, but they're not mine. I mean, it's I didn't draw shit on them.
Well, it's not lost on me, put it that way. And I think it's I don't want to repeat. I'm not telling the dad story or whatever for sympathy. I'm not doing the other things. It's more just a bit of context to go like, this is what that means to me. It's like one of those things where I only had him literally. So 4 to 7 is kind of what you really remember, and that was all. That was Turtles, dude. That was our thing. Like
that was it.
I remember the gag in the first one. I remember seeing it at the cinema, and I remember just like the Casey, oops, that kind of like that was my dad's humor all over, like the combat,
the garbage truck,
like just the any sarcastic like I made it funny, like like just dumb stuff, but it's like I have the same humor, and it's nice to know. It's comforting to know that like. I'm able to still enjoy those things, and it means that little bit extra. It means something to everyone. It's just that's what it means to me,
No, and that's fun, and that's fantastic, man. We all have those things, like we all have those things that just sort of sit with us forever, right? And ultimately, that's why, like, we talk about these things with people for these fantastic stories, and whatever it's about, because not everybody gets the chance to tell those stories because they talk about these like it's not an interview, right? And when you're interviewed, you're like, so what were you thinking when you drew page 13? Oh man, I don't know. I was kind of drunk, right? Like it's not like that is something different. Like these fantastic stories are why we're here. But so the fact that you got a chance to have that weird circle of life, if you will, right? That's pretty fantastic.
But I will say, I tried to at least, and this is before I knew about this. Rob was very kind. While he signed all my Turtle stuff, I was able to.
Oh, snap. All right.
So I love it's like, it goes, hello, Jamie. And then it's like, no.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Last year, what was it? Last year at Rhode Island Comic Con, I was, or 2 years ago now? Crap, it was 2 years ago. Pinky was at Rhode Island. So I got, Maurice.
Maurice LaMarche?
I'm sorry, Brain. My bad.
Yeah.
Brain was there, so I have like the Animaniacs DVD that I have them signed over there, and then what was the other thing I ended up getting? I don't remember. But the Animaniacs was one of those things that was like the first. It was like the next step evolution when you started watching those 80s and 90s commercials, because when we were talking about the theme songs and stuff like that, a lot of the intros don't even exist now on TV shows because people don't have time they can't sit through them. Netflix is like, do you want to skip this? And sometimes I give it a shot, right? Like I give it a shot because what if it's really cool and I want to watch it? No, I don't want to watch that every single time because I think I've found like one or two in the past like 10 years that I actually can even stand, right? It's not those things that get stuck in your head forever or any of the other stuff, It's just it's almost like a weird lost art, but it is where we are at now as like almost as like a society type thing. I don't have time for that. I don't have time.
It's instant gratification. It's a scrolling culture. It's the quick form stuff, and like you said, it's an art form that's been lost because it's been deemed unnecessary. But if you imagine we got the 1990 Turtles today, right? And then Netflix just automatically doesn't put the credits on. You wouldn't get your TURTLE power. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't get any of. You wouldn't know that Raphael is the leader of the group. Apparently, you wouldn't.
and you exactly right, and you miss all like. I think that's actually my least favorite thing is that they're like, do you want to skip the credits and then, or when the streaming service is like, all right, so the next thing that we're picking for you is starting in 15
Mm,
seconds. I'm like, can I watch the credits? And they're like, and
yeah.
it's like, nope. No matter
And
what
there's
key
always stuff
code,
coming up in there, and like, what happened to those like
Yeah.
I
cutscenes
just
and
want
Yeah.
to watch it. Is there a setting I can set so you stop doing that? Because that would be fantastic.
to be clear, I'm glad that we've gone away from having to rewind things, and that the tape.
Yes.
When you feel old, I remember I can't remember what it was. It's basically family friends from Melbourne, which is another state across state down. They were coming across for like maybe my mum's 50th, right? So my mum's like in her 60s now, so it was a long time ago. And so she just said, you just have phrases that you say to someone. Can you record this or whatever? She said to a younger brother, who is a lot younger, I said, "Oh, can you just tape this show for me?" And he goes, "What's tape?" And I went, "Oh yeah, like it doesn't like we don't even think about it. Tape refers to, can you record it? Can you tape that?" I don't know if that's an Aussie thing or if that's like if that makes sense to you guys, but
oh no,
can you tape that? And he's like, "What's tape?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're old, damn."
So
here we are.
I have a 21-year-old, and he doesn't know it as a tape. He calls it the rectangles. And a VCR.
I'm assuming you have like the old like clamshell turtles and stuff like that.
Oh
like
yeah,
nice.
I mean, so I am a collector of antiquated technology.
You mean like vinyl?
I have vinyl, but like you were talking about meeting Kino, I had him sign my Turtles 2 Laserdisc.
I love it. That's so good.
Like I've got a Laserdisc player. I have a backup one in case that my primary.
Oh, so it actually functions. I love to display that stuff. Like,
yeah,
like bro. I'm never gonna watch these, but I got Goosebumps VHSs.
Yeah,
I have some too. But I still have I purged a lot of my VHSs years ago, but I still kept some. Like one of the biggest ones I kept was the DBZ ones, not because they're like a superior quality or anything, but because when you line them up, they have the picture.
Yeah, the spines.
Right?
Yeah.
So everybody's like, "Why are you keeping those? You have the DVD." I was like, "But look." And I'm like, no. Anyway,
Turtles kind of did that with it was all but it was kind of disjointed. It wasn't one big image like Dragon Ball Z.
Right, exactly. And then the DVDs for the 87 show, they put out so many different weird ones, and at one point, like the
formats are thin and thick. And,
like it's volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, season 3, and I was like, wait, hold on, what? Why are we doing? Anyway, so
I watched a YouTube about this because because Paramount has it now and they released it under Paramount. They're like, good, they literally just rebranded the same thing. They're like, just do it properly, dude. Like, just the spine. Look, the spines have to line up. What are you doing? Like,
right here is a Turtles DVD collection box set, and it's just in a turtle van. So I have the van, right? And it's
so good.
It is. I actually had when I met the Turtles last year, I had them sign that.
Nice.
I had them just sign the van. But anyway, so I was like, I'm not doing this. So yeah, so he calls it the thing that plays the rectangles is the VCR. So people are always weird. They always find it funny when they're like, can you even watch that? I was like, please, I've got 3 VCRs that still work. Plus a brand new in-box DVD VCR combo, so if I ever felt squirrely, I could record the DVDs onto the VHS. Or vice
it's good
versa.
having like CRT TVs as well. Like, I mean, you can still plug your NES and have the little, like the adapters and things, but it's nothing like just that grainy quality. You feel like you're just in the. We never had basements, but like that, in our rumpus room and doing the,
exactly
living room.
That's like the one thing I don't have in this house is a CRT TV. It was like,
oh, bro,
how dare you?
How dare you? Although Laserdisc, it has to be a little bit more crisp. I get it.
Yeah, and I do have the Laserdisc. It can play on my high definition television in the original version because I have my high def television does actually just have a regular component or composite input. So I was like, okay, yeah, and it it looks very clearly grainy. And I was like, this is exactly
Just
what I wanted to watch.
one step above VHS and 2 steps above Betamax. You know, like it's good.
Right,
It's good.
exactly.
Sounds like an oxymoron.
Yeah. But that's it. Is like, and but that's like, I love that stuff. Yes, I am very glad I don't have to rewind my VHS tapes anymore. But also, let me watch the fucking credits, man.
Right.
YouTube's the same.
Fantastic intro.
The YouTube's kind of the same, I think. I'm like, you know, speaking of your childhood and everything coming back, I was like, when Linkin Park dropped, I was like super like into them, and I lost them for a little while because I didn't love the last like 3 albums, and since Chester was kind of gone, and then now they've got the new singer. I'm not gonna get into the I love her. I think it's a great new direction, but every time you see the clip, like the music video, and then they'll just put like ads up for the next thing, and I'm trying to watch the last of the thing. Can you move? Like I don't know how to remove that. So that might just be me, but that annoys me as well.
No, it's not. It's not you. And that's kind of that. But that's it. Is like, it is relatively obnoxious. That's why when people are like, oh, you can watch it here, it's like, all right, look, I'm just gonna go. Like, I never got rid of my DVDs or my Blu-rays. So even though everybody has like streaming services, I've had to use them more times in the past 2 years because the movie doesn't exist anywhere to stream. So I was like, all right, well, let me just go downstairs and get it. And then I walked over to my collection. And I'm like, Alphabet.
Well, Animaniacs was the same. And I think you can purchase it episode by episode here, but like I'd rather just have it been, because look, the one thing I'm not sure, I haven't gone through the whole catalog of your interviews, but the one thing with artists and me personally, I'll either have a documentary, like I had like The Last Dance, the Jordan thing, that was good because it was a good like 10 hours of content where you're just in the background, you can hear it. I'm at my physical drawing table is over there, and I just curve my screen and I have it just kind of peripherally there. So Ninja Turtles, I could hear that from start to finish, and I know what's going on just by what scene it's at and whatever. Because you just, you know what I mean. We've binged it throughout our life, and I could probably recite most of the first like 3-4 seasons. But it's like, like you can't access these things. And look, Paramount has the original Turtles on there, but sometimes it just sounds a little bit off. Like I don't know if they had to fix things. Yeah, please.
No,
go on.
There are weird I looked it up because Amazon Prime has a streaming channel that literally just plays 87 Turtles.
Oh, okay. I knew that they were on there. I didn't know if that was I have watched it on there. I didn't know if it was a specific channel, but okay.
Yeah, so it's basically just front to back. Every once in a while they switch it up and they'll just play like a different season out of order. But I started hearing weird things too, and I don't remember it from when I was a kid, but I looked it up. Yeah. Basically, sometime in like some of the later seasons, they had replacement voice actors.
What?
Yeah. So there's episodes in like starting in the later seasons where voice like Rob isn't Raph. And
you know what? I do remember watching that, and it's the ones where it's like a lot darker. It's like Teenage Mutant Ninja, yeah, and like Mikey. I think the UK had a problem there with or maybe it was the US. They were banned, like the nunchucks. People were just getting killed because people were making like. So you had this like bolas, like the rope with the hooks on it, which is infinitely worse. It's like getting fish hooks on a what a kid's gonna, like.
Yeah. Right, exactly. But the audio started being weird, so I looked it up, and there were times where they just had like filming contradictions or whatever. It was before the I can now just record it here and upload it digitally, right? So it caused actual problems. So they had basically like stand-in voice actors.
Wow.
I know. At one point, Jim Cummings took over for Shredder.
Yeah.
Really? Woody the Pooh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if he replaced James Avery for any specific reason or if he already passed.
When he got Fresh Prince.
Oh yeah. He probably left because of that. Yeah.
I think they said that I heard in an interview, or maybe it was at the panel. They're saying that James was like so torn about it. They're like, dude, that's like real TV. That's your face. That's like do this. That's the next level. Like don't worry about us. Like you just do you. Like we love you and that's great. But like, you'll always be. Which is
listen. Shredder's amazing, but Uncle Phil is like. He's the uncle.
But dude, I don't remember a lot from Fresh Prince, like lines, but Breakout Lucille, where he's like doing the pool shark, where he's like Breakout Lucille. He's got like his own pool cue, and he's just like sharking the guy. It's so good.
Oh yeah, but he fakes it first. You always have to fake it first in the 90s.
Well, that's the shark part. He's like, okay, let's make $1,000 or something. Like he's like Breakout Lucille.
I love how Jeffrey always just went with it every no matter what the situation was. Jeffrey was just whatever. I guess this is what I do now.
Yeah, I mean, he probably got paid good enough, right?
That was my era, man. I don't have the Jordan 4s. I got the Jordan 3s, the Tinkers on, but I'm very much like that kind of like my zany wardrobe is kind of my thing.
Those look like Keith Haring shorts.
I don't know if you know what the brand Mambo is. It's an Australian thing, but it's just got a lot of like skateboards and zigzags, and it's like, it's a very, very kitschy,
90s.
Very 90s, yeah.
Man, not enough color to be 90s. Sorry.
This is a later release. Trust me when I say I've got some pretty zany stuff, dude. Like lots of pinks and purples and greens in there.
Windbreakers.
Very, very like Saved by the Bell. Like if you ever seen the intro to Saved by the Bell, it's like all those colors. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Saved by the Bell. So am I the only weirdo that tried to keep track of the Animaniacs when when Yakko would bring up the Wheel of Morality and
morality, turn.
And he would always say and then he would always read off a number. I started at one point keeping track of them just to see if they ever duplicated them. And
I don't think they ever. I think they were just randomly generated. I think that's the whole thing about the Get a Life Club was the whole. And then we do this, and the gospel according to the Wheel of Morality. Like it's cool. I would do the same thing. I never kept up with it. I think you're very dedicated for doing that, but it was. No,
they duplicated numbers. I don't have a recollection of them duplicating them like the lesson, but they duplicated the numbers, and I was like,
"Oh, I'm sure they would have had some very angry emails about that, or handwritten."
Yeah. Very angry pen pals.
How dare you? Number 8.
Break out the typewriter.
Yeah.
Angrily.
Yeah.
Angry. Yeah.
Or if they're really angry, they're starting to cut out the letters of the magazines and where's my glue stick?
I think that's the wrong
bit of ransom letter. I don't know, like ransom note.
Hey, you know how some of those fans can be.
Well, it's kind of like the Riddler in Batman Forever. Just the craft that he must be doing to put that all together.
Yes,
I actually really enjoyed Batman Forever. But,
well, it's our age. We thought it was. I also, before Turtles, I did something like 20, 30 Phantom covers. So the Phantom was also another thing when I was little. And going to see that movie, I was like, this is incredible. And I'm like, watching it later, I'm like, no, it's not. But
terrible, yeah.
When you're watching something, when you're in the middle of fandom, anything you get is good content. You're just excited to be there and to watch it on the big screen. And we didn't have all the spoilers and TikTok and things with like set photos and stuff. We got what we got,
Yeah,
that's it. It was that, and we liked it for the most part, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we didn't care what it was. We got, especially back then, it was rare to get the stuff. It's not like nowadays where every property's got a movie coming out. It's back then. It's like, oh, we're getting a Mortal Kombat movie. Oh shit, this is awesome.
Was it good? What? Get over here.
You gotta think back then. Dude, that movie, my dad took me to see that in the theaters, Mortal Kombat, when it came out. And when he did that the first time, that scared the shit out of me as a kid. When he's got Liu Kane's brother holding him up by the hair, and it just like takes his skull, like flies up. scared the shit out of me. I like ran out of the theater. I was like, what the fuck? And then my dad's trying to coax me back in, and I'm hearing like all this like loud screeching, and I'm like, I'm not going back in there.
Dude, all your segues. I literally just spoke about the Phantom. He played like Kari Tagawa played Kabai Singh, who's the bad guy in, he's the head of the pirates, and he was also Shao Tsung, is that his name? The one that your soul is mine.
Oh
but
yeah,
he overacts the crap out of
I know.
it. Like, walks. Like it's almost like a dubbed Hong Kong movie. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did good at casting that Mortal Kombat movie.
I don't know about Raiden though. I think he was a bit white for my liking, but yeah.
Oh yeah, that was Christopher Lambert.
It's funny that they've rebooted it and they shot it in Australia, and a girl I went to school with plays Sonya Blade. Like it's just the weirdest.
Really?
The
new movie.
Yeah, I think they're doing just did a second one, but Jess McNamee went to my primary school. Well, my elementary school, you guys call it. Yeah.
I didn't hate the new one. It's not great. I didn't like the fact that like they created a new character for it, but like Sub-Zero was badass in it when he's like walking down the streets and the streets are just like starting to freeze and stuff, and then when you see him like freeze Jack's arms, just snap him off, I'm like, all right, this is cool.
But you actually felt the dread. And yeah, I was gonna say visually, like even video games these days now starting to come. Obviously there's a lot of AI and stuff, and that's a whole different conversation. But the realism of this stuff, exactly. But like even the Marvel movies, all this stuff, it's just like Thanos and the snap and all these things, people being dusted. It's like that happened. Like it looks so real. Whereas in the 90s was like overlaid with a green screen, and they were doing practical effects and like the dust. Yeah, it's like.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's way better though.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's way better.
At least we had the credits back then.
Yeah. And we didn't have to sit through all the credits to get a 30-second teaser for the next movie or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
We also used to get credits at the beginning of movies.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Is in like the
not like full on scrolling credits, but like
the amount of the executive producer and this and that and yeah.
They put a lot of it there, and then like put shorter stuff at the end.
Oh, dude, like Batman '89. If you try to sit through that opening, it's like it's following obviously the sculpture of the bat, but it takes like 10 minutes. Dude. Come on, like I get it. There's people in it. Just show me at the end. I'll sit through it if you really want me to. But just let's get Batman. Let's go.
Yeah, it is. That is a rough one.
I watched it. We actually watched that a couple years ago when my partner's brother passed away because he loved Batman, and
that's a nice tribute, dude.
It was. We watched 1, 2,
Forever and
4.
Stay cool, bad boy.
What do you mean? One?
We did.
So Batman Returns, Batman
Forever,
Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, we did 1, 2, 4. We didn't do. Yeah, we did. Yeah, because we were like, all right, we got like a lot to get. We wanted to get through like a number of them.
And you can't skip Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, by that stage, hopefully there's a few drinks flowing, so it's a bit more palatable. But the puns alone, like Schwarzenegger made a career on puns. Like if True Lies, he's hanging by the missile. He's like, "You're fired."
Yeah,
but no one else can do that. It has to be in that accent,
Yeah,
I think. And that's it. It's like so. Yeah, but when we were watching that '89 one, I was like, I forgot about that opening sequence, and I was like, my then 8-year-old was like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, it's cinematography. Here, let me just fast forward through this. But yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm sure that the attention span wasn't there for that for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, if there's a thing, it's actually one of the primary reasons why I like my discs and not streaming, because if I ever run into a buffer,
oh dude,
they don't even know what to do. They're like, why is the world coming into an end? Dude, I don't know. It took like.
Let me introduce you to QuickTime Player.
Yeah.
and 2 gigabyte movie trailers. You have to sit through.
Yeah.
I remember doing that for Phantom Menace. Like, oh shit, a new Star Wars trailer's dropping. Like, you download it on Real Player QuickTime, and it takes like an hour, and then you finally get to watch it. And
it's a horror.
Look, I'll save you the trouble. You don't have to watch it. Just listen to The Saga Begins by Weird Al Yankovic. He'll tell you the whole story from front to back, and he'll do it musically, and it's beautiful.
Yes,
true. He does do that.
Oh, jeez. You know what? I've been watching Skeleton Crew. It's actually pretty good. I'm actually enjoying it for what it is. Yeah, I'm kind of exhausted on Star Wars, but I need content to watch, and I put that on. I don't hate it so far, so that's a plus.
Well, I'll put it on my list. You know what? That's actually the best review I've heard. Is that I don't hate it. The quick turnaround. The quick turnaround on all these shows. It's like there's a potential for it, but they're just like, we need something else. Like I said, that hunger, and you need it now. Just take a bit longer, do it properly. You know, we had a few glimpses of it, and Ahsoka was, had its moments, and these Mandalorian and like people that give a crap, that's what we want
right now.
Yeah, no, me too. But I'm just saying, like I said, for a while there, you get these things. I think I'm a victim of the short form content thing myself, but
It's but no, it's the whole premise is like 4 reluctant kids get sent on an adventure, and it's like, all right, well, it's Goonies in space. I'm in. It's kind of like what I'm looking at.
Hey, you guys!
And so it's 3 episodes in so far, and
but it's a Wookiee, so it's more just Wookiee sound.
There's no Wookiee. There is an elephant kid who's like got an elephant.
Fantastic. Exactly. Instead of sloth, it's Wookiee.
How much more time do you got?
I didn't want to say it on stream, but I will have to wrap it up, unfortunately, guys.
I've been paying attention to the time. That's why I figured it out.
I didn't want to go. I actually really enjoy hanging out.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's you guys are awesome.
Well, we can do it again. That's anytime.
Sweet.
But before you get going, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you, what you got going on, and all that fun stuff?
Cool. Best place to find me. So I'm Jamie Johnson, cover artist, illustrator from Australia. Quick Draw 13 on Instagram. Just had issue 1 to 4 of Ninja Turtles retail exclusive covers out. And basically I'm just looking forward to kicking back and actually winding down this very busy year. So thank you for having me on, guys. It's been amazing.
You've almost made it. The year's almost done.
One more. I got a signing tomorrow, and then I'm done. Exactly.
Oh, beautiful. Enjoy your rest for a week or two until it starts back up in 2020.
Then the family and Christmas is a whole other thing, but we'll leave that one.
Yeah, that's not a professional burden, at least. But
I don't know.
You got to be professional, but it's not. It's not a paid appearance.
Well, that's absolutely correct. Yes.
I mean, unless you're getting presents and stuff, because I guess that counts as paid appearance, but I don't know.
Just hoping for some nice bottles of whiskey this year,